Sunday night can be a little rough. People are tied up, family affairs, Sundays. So I'm just sitting here chanting and Hare Krishna. I don't think anybody else is going to show up, but I'm here and I'll wait and see. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Just chanting Hare Krishna mantra, japa. Hare Krishna, meditating on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. If someone else can break free and come on the session, then we chant together with musical instruments, and then we read something about Krishna together. It's nice. And then sometimes we have different realizations, personal realizations, transcendental world, spiritual world. But I think people are tied up today, weekends, family obligations. I don't have family obligations, so I'm just chanting all the time. I don't. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare. I have beads here. So beads, chanting on beads. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This is a mantra. Man means the mind, and tra means to control. So it's a way it's mantra yoga. The meditation in mantra yoga is to meditate on the sound vibration of Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. It's like tuning in to another dimension, transcendental reality, beyond the material senses and mind. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. It's like turning on a television, or I don't know about television these days, but turning on the internet. It's like going online. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. When the material, temporary thoughts and desires are cleared away, then there's room to, that's like static on the line. It's like static confusion. When those things are cleared away and the mind is steady, then the transcendence can be perceived, the transcendental nature, our spiritual nature, that we're not matter, we're energy. Everything is energy, and we're conscious energy. So then we can begin to realize our actual spiritual nature. This mantra yoga this particular mantra is extremely potent, extremely potent. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It's an appeal to be engaged in the service of the Supreme Being, Supreme Spiritual Being, God. Happens to be a person, spiritual person. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. He's never born, never dies, knows everything. Everything comes from Krishna. It's the source of all energies, source of all knowledge, source of everything, the material world, the spiritual world. Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. He's also situated within the heart of all living beings. When we make that connection with the super soul within the heart, the Lord within the heart, then he begins to reveal things we can see in a new light, in a spiritual light. So this is also chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. It's like making that connection with super soul within the heart. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. It looks like everybody was tied up tonight. So I guess I'll just read a verse from the Bhagavad Gita and then probably close down. So this is text 28, chapter 2. And this is Krishna speaking to our Arjuna. This is a really unique scripture, the Bhagavad Gita, because it's God directly speaking. It's his song, he's actually speaking. So he's talking to Arjuna, a devotee, great devotee of his, who's a little confused about what he should do, which is like most of us. We get like that. So he's having this conversation And God is speaking to him. And Krishna says, all created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when they are annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation? In other words, it's temporary. The situation is temporary. No one can stay in this material body. Everyone comes and goes. And then he says, some look on the soul as amazing. Some describe him as amazing. And some hear of him as amazing. While others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all. People are at different levels of awareness. And so some people, they're amazed by the soul. They have some realization of the spiritual being. And then others can't understand at all. They don't think it even soul even exists. They're completely entangled in what's called material sense gratification, overwhelmed by the material body. And then Krishna says, O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body is eternal and can never be slain. Therefore, you need not grieve for any creature. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, Kshatriya is a soldier, so this devotee of the Lord is a soldier. Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principles. And so there's no need for hesitation. That was his duty. He's a fighter, soldier. And he was hesitating to fight. He was having some second thoughts about going ahead and entering into this particular battle because he had intimate family relationships with some of the people on the other side. So he was considering, do I really want to do this? But he's being told this is his duty, and there is some religious, spiritual need here for this particular battle. We were learning earlier when we were reading together, when some of the other devotees could come, that war is actually necessary in human society. From time to time, there has to be war. Now, most people, you say that, they're going to get upset because they're thinking that somehow, if we could just get our act together as human beings, we wouldn't have to have war. We could all just live peacefully. But Krishna is explaining, no, there's always a need for violence. There'll always be a need for a certain amount of violence because there are those elements in society that can't be rectified, that will cause disturbances. And the only way they can be dealt with is force or violence because they don't respond to anything else. So there'll always be a need for that. But to know when to apply it, that's the trick. When to apply it. That requires spiritual vision. When violence is to be applied righteously and in the right way. And this is the dilemma that the soldier is having. He's wondering, is this actually proper now to commit violence here? And Krishna is explaining to him that, yes, violence is needed here. And that's your service. You're a soldier. You know how to fight. So that is your... We're reading also how when these soldiers, now we're talking ancient civilization, people were actually more elevated than they are now spiritually. They would train to develop their military skills. Part of the training was they would go into the jungle, and on a one-to-one battle, they would fight with a wild animal like a tiger, one-to-one. And when the animal, because the soldiers know how to fight, the animal's dangerous, but the soldier knows how to kill in that situation. When the animal was killed, it was made, he was offered in sacrifice, and that soul that was that tiger, in that tiger's body, was elevated, went higher, didn't have to go through the whole chain of cycle of reincarnation, immediately was elevated because his life was taken in that kind of service. So Krishna is also explaining to Arjuna here that in this battlefield, the soldiers that are going to be killed in this battle they go higher also. They go to heavenly planets. They go to higher planets because of the religious nature of this particular war. It's fought on religious principles. Now, religious principles aren't the highest principles. They serve a purpose in human society for keeping order and smooth running of society. But they're not the highest principles. Religious principles serve a function, but they're not the highest principles. There are higher spiritual principles in relationship to transcendence and developing love of God. But religious principles are an important part of human civilization. So, this verse, 32, Krishna continues. He's talking to his friend. He says, O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, opening for them the doors of the heavenly planets. If, however, you do not fight this religious war, then you will certainly incur sins for neglecting your duties, and thus lose your reputation as a fighter. People will always speak of you, speak of your infamy. And for one who has been honored, dishonor is worse than death. So infamy means someone becomes famous for doing some wrong thing or bad thing or disgrace. Infamy is actually to be well known in disgrace. Someone who's famous, they're glorious because they did something really great. But infamy means you're famous because you really blew it. So Krishna explains, people will always speak of your infamy. And that is something that would be very distasteful to a devotee of the Lord, to be infamous, because they don't want to, if they're a devotee of the Lord, they don't want to be have some disgrace, because they want to see the Lord glorified. And they want to glorify the Lord by their actions. They don't want to disgrace themselves and then have it known that they're somehow connected as a valued servant of the Lord, and then they have some disgrace. They don't want that. So it would be doubly miserable. His name is Arjuna, the soldier. It'd be doubly miserable for him because he loves God. He doesn't want to bring disgrace to himself and thereby clouding the glories of the Lord also. He doesn't want that. He wants to glorify God by his actions and by his behavior. So that infamy would be doubly painful for him. Actually, he might not even care if he himself was infamous. He might not even care. But if it reflected on the Lord somehow, then he wouldn't like that. Because he's completely surrendered to the Lord. So he doesn't want to do anything to bring disgrace. The Greek generals have highly esteemed your name and fame, will think you have left the battlefield out of fear only, and thus they will consider you a coward. Your enemies will describe you in many unkind words and scorn your ability. What could be more painful for you? O son of Kunti, either you will be killed on the battlefield and attain the heavenly planets, or you will conquer and enjoy the earthly kingdom. Therefore, get up and fight with determination. Do thou fight for the sake of fighting, without considering happiness or distress, loss or gain, victory or defeat, and by so doing, you shall never incur sin. Now, there's a nice explanation here by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. A long name. But he is a very exalted personality. His spiritual realizations, considered a pure devotee of Krishna. So he's giving a little explanation here, and he says, Lord Krishna now directly says that Arjuna should fight for the sake of fighting because he desires the battle. Krishna desires the battle. There is no consideration of happiness or distress, profit or gain, victory or defeat in the activities of Krishna consciousness. That everything should be performed for the sake of Krishna is transcendental consciousness. So, there is no reaction to material activities. He who acts for his own sense gratification, either in goodness or in passion, is subject to the reaction, good or bad. But he who has completely surrendered himself in the activities of Krishna consciousness is no longer obliged to anyone, nor is he a debtor to anyone, as one is in the ordinary course of activities. It is said, there's some Sanskrit here, but the translation is, anyone who has completely surrendered unto Krishna, Mukunda, giving up all other duties, is no longer a debtor nor is he obliged to anyone. Not the demigods, not the sages, nor the people in general, nor kinsmen, nor humanity, nor forefathers. End translation. That is the indirect hint given by Krishna to Arjuna in this verse. And the matter will be more clearly explained in the following verses. People want to be free, right? Everybody's clamoring, I have freedom, I have freedom, 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 freedom. That's very freeing. By engaging in Krishna consciousness, no more debt. Now everybody's all upset about debts, right? Now everybody's in debt, all the country's in debt, all the people are in debt. They can't pay their debts, they feel like slaves. Can't sleep at night, they're miserable, they're rioting in the streets. They're all in debt. But here, Prabhupada explains, Krishna explains, and give up all those duties. No obligations to family members, no obligations to country, no obligation to humanity in general. Have no debts. No debts to the sages, no debts to the demigods. No debts. Debt-free. This is Krishna consciousness. Real freedom. So that's a little bit, and that was kind of fun. I guess we'll close it down. Yeah, be here 10 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time tomorrow. And usually people show up, devotees show up then. So hopefully they will. When we read together, a lot of things come out. It's a very purifying experience. And I'm hoping more devotees will take part, because it's really it's pretty dynamic. There's a lot more realizations come out in association. So, Hare Krishna. Stay well. Chant Hare Krishna. Go back home. Back to Godhead.